What would you see as a business should look at early warning signs that they may have some risk coming up with their clients?
Yeah.
What are the things that you look for?
Regular payment arrangements that default, or and the classic one is that just people start to ignore phone calls. Yeah, and they might see that somebody's mailbox is full when they try to call them, or a phone gets disconnected. They go to their office, their premises might be closed. There's all sorts of horrible things that can happen. But generally, things go from being good and organised and sorted, and then they're not. Yeah, so it's the demise, and also what the industry, other people in the industries might be saying to them, or they're getting phone calls from other collection agencies or whatever it is about, because they might have defaulted on a credit reporting bureau, and they're saying, "Well, what's happening with this client?" So that sort of stuff happens for the awareness of that things aren't great out there for that company.
Yeah, look, I know the thing that really frustrates me is when you ring a phone and you get it's constantly goes to voicemail, and then all of a sudden you get that terrible message. This phone can no longer take any more voicemail messages. It's so full. That means nobody is getting their calls returned, and it's a pretty bleak look sort of warning that things are about to go down the toilet. Let's say I've had a problem with a particular client. I've referred you to the client and say, look, can you please use your process from
Mm,
here to try and collect for me?
yeah.
What's do you take a fair amount of time with that before you escalate it up to going legal,
Oh,
or
for sure.
what's the
Yeah.
sort of process you apply?
Yeah. Well, we start with trying to, as I said, contact them, um, chat to them, engage with them, and, with intention to paying into our trust account so that we can monitor anything that might have been promised. And if that doesn't come off, we can't get in contact with them, then we're also looking at a credit reporting bureau to see what's going on with them. Do they owe the ATO money? That's always a cracker. Anything over 100 grand is now listed if they're not in a payment arrangement. And sometimes we've had pretty small debts gone to our credit reporting bureaus, and there we have it, that they owe the ATO $200,000. They've got 4 judgments, 3 defaults, mercantile inquiries that show that other debt collection agencies have been chasing them as well. So, and loads of people looking at their credit file is always a big red flag that they're in trouble. So we take that information back to our client. We say we're not being able to, contact them as well. Whatever's going on, if they're ignoring us as well. Um, what are we going to do about this? We'll just keep trying for a little bit. We'll just be watching it, monitoring what's going on with them. We get the insolvency list every day. We're always looking at who's on that list for wind up action or various liquidation events. So it's a big, every matter is different, and we're always just monitoring them and their progress or demise, which sometimes happens. And we won't be recommending legal action if that is looking very, grim. And it all depends on the debt amount too, as to what we do, whether we think that they should be pouncing or not, sort of thing. Yeah, escalating it or not.
So, if I was in business and I'm now going to take on I won a large job or whatever, and I'm putting on a new client, it may be very wise to give you a call and say, oh, look, I'm about to take on this new client because you have access to the tools that can
Yeah,
look and see if a client has been well behaved in their
yeah,
payment
totally.
type arrangements and so
And
forth.
the history.
Yeah, I think that's people get a little bit excited. I've just won this new order and he didn't worry too much about the price. And I think I'm on a bit of a
Mm,
winner here.
yeah,
And these are, to me, can be very much warning signs that, it's good to win new business, but if you're not going to get paid, it's an absolute disaster.
it is. It is. As they say, they used to say you may as well be at home watching the midday movie, but now it's a Netflix series or
All
whatever
right.
streaming service. you're using.
Well, I always
Yeah,
like that.
there's no point unless you're getting paid.
No, exactly. I like the definition. When you're in business, because you send out an invoice and someone pays it. That's when you're in business. If you send
Yes.
out an invoice and no one pays it, well, you're not really in business. You've just become a bit of a
It's
charity.
not. It's not in the bank until it's in the bank,
Hmm.
Martin.
Now, one of the other things I do know, which
Mm.
I know your organisation's particularly good at, I had a friend who had a
Yeah.
debt collector go and chase a debt for $50,000,
Yeah.
substantial debt,
Hmm.
and then they managed to collect it, but
Great.
they didn't give it to the client for another 60 days.
Oh,
I
that's.
couldn't,
Um,
you need a debt collector for the debt collector.
yeah. No, that's not great to hear at all. Well, we turn our or do our banking. So we our trust account is emptied every Tuesday and Friday afternoon, and that's just something. It used to be weekly, and we listen to our clients while and I think this was during COVID that things were just so grim. We decided we were going to do it twice a week. So every Tuesday afternoon, every Friday afternoon, money is returned to our clients. And if we did have that $50,000 sitting in our trust account and we knew that our client needed it today, we would do a special banking today to get that money over to them.
I was very surprised, and then I found out that it's not unusual in some of the less reputable debt collection agencies to sit on the funds for this amount of time.
Yeah, that's really disappointing to hear. And, unfortunately, it does happen out there. That's why we've been in business since 2014. We have a great referral network. I think our clients love us. We feel like we're part of an extension of their business. And we know I've got clients. We've watched their families grow. Their children are teenagers now. We know they've got to put food on the table. They've got their mortgages. They've got their staff who have got mortgages as well. Um, People feel very, very responsible. So I think when they deal with us, they know they're going to get paid quickly. It's a really good win-win situation, and that's what Business Credit Solutions is about. It's a credit solution, so we have to pay people quickly because that's part of what we do.
And I suppose at the moment, where are you seeing? Do you see any industry trends? And I'm not
Mm.
going to hold you to these, but just as a indicative, do you sort of where are you seeing problems at the moment?
Well, the four risk industries, and you mentioned the number one, that's always the number one. That's construction and related industries. Hospitality has been in trouble for a few years now. We've seen people go into liquidation there, really, and it's unfortunate. Professional services aren't getting paid, so people do a really good job to get people whatever matters resolved, and they don't get paid for it, which is really disappointing. Administration, transport, I think are pretty much probably the main five in there.
I've heard a couple of economists saying that they thought there may be an increase in the transport industry because the fuel subsidy wasn't a subsidy, but the reduced
Yeah,
tax is back on now, and so a lot of the transport companies run pretty thin margins, so they will have
yeah.
some problems to absorb there.